If you've been following along, we've got a portfolio, we've got a blog, we've got a killer homepage. Now what we need to do is add a contact page, because I can guarantee you that that's going to be one of the things that your clients are going to ask you for, and one thing you should probably do even for your own site is create a contact form. This does a few things for you. One is it protects your email address. So I wouldn't recommend putting your email on your WordPress site unless you want a lot of spam content eventually when you get found. So a form is a great way to help protect that, as well as weed out the tire kickers. And what I mean by that is if you're going to be a web developer or a graphic designer or anything like that, or even just, I guess, a general business person, a form can help be a barrier to entry and kind of a gate. So that way it qualifies your buyers. So rather than anybody being able to just contact you and ask you silly questions, that'll happen. It will help guide them and make sure that they're a buyer who's ready for your service. So for example, you might ask, how big is your company, or what's your marketing budget? And maybe on one of the drop downs, maybe you have like $1,000 as your minimum purchase. So that way you're not getting people who want, a $200 logo or a $200 website, right? So the other bonus to this, or the other benefit, is depending on the contact form you use, it can gather all of those contacts and all of those entries into one spot. So there's a couple contact forms I would recommend. The first one you probably already have if you've been following along. If we jump into our plugins here, this contact form 7. So again, if you're following along, if you got the Salient theme, I think maybe even the X theme, it probably installed this by default. If you didn't get it, it's really easy to go to Add New in Plugins, search for Contact Form 7, return, and you'll see it pulls up. And one of the ways that we know this is a great plugin, again, this was updated very recently, and it has over 1 million active installs. So between that and its high rating, you know that it's a pretty good solution. Now there's a lot of other contact forms if we scroll through here from different styling options and other plugins, but Contact Form 7 is by far the most popular. The other contact form is Gravity Forms. However, this one comes with a price tag, so you do have to subscribe to use it, but I highly recommend this one. It's really easy to use. It looks beautiful, and one thing that I like better about Gravity Forms versus Contact Form 7 is how it works. And what I mean specifically by that is Contact Form 7 basically acts as an in-between. So somebody goes in there, they fill it out, and they hit submit, and all it does is fire off an email to your email address. Well, something that can happen is if it's not configured correctly, or maybe your server goes down or something weird happens, which has happened to me before, that email doesn't get through. And because all it's doing is sending out an email essentially, if it doesn't get through, it doesn't get saved anywhere. So you lose that contact, and then you have people going, hey, I emailed you and you never got back to me. Whereas Gravity Forms, when it fires it off to send it to you, it also copies it to your WordPress database. So where this is cool is all of your contacts over time can be in one spot. So if you wanted to, you can export all of that as a comma separated value sheet, and you could upload those contacts into something like MailChimp or Constant Contact or some other email marketing platform. So it's super useful for in the future. Now, I do know there are some other plugins you can add to Contact Form 7 to make it do similar things as well, but it's a lot more hoops to jump through. So I'm a big fan of things that work well, that look good, and just take care of things and make my job easier. So again, that's why I would highly recommend Gravity Forms. Not only that, but both the X theme and the Salient theme for sure have built-in elements. So what I mean by that, if you remember when we go to any of the pages here, let me just jump into one real quick. Doesn't matter which one. I'll go to my page builder, and we'll go to add an element. Let me just type this in real quick. So Contact Form 7 is already installed, so it shows up here. But if I have Gravity Forms installed, that will show up as well. And it has custom styling, and you can also style it yourself. So what we're going to do in the next lecture is look at how to actually set up Contact Form 7 and how to set up Gravity Forms.